We want to make sure we are building great products that our customers love, that create great value for them. And this is what this principle is all about. And then ... we capture our fair share of value. As product managers, we sometimes really anchor on create great value for customers. And then the BAs come in and ask us, what about our fair share of value, right? So we just want to get more and more clear about the unit economics and the overall economics of what we are building and how we build a big, valuable business where we are capturing not too little value and we are capturing not too much value. We are capturing our fair share of value in line with the disruptive strategy that Nubank has followed for 9 years now. That's an art, not a science, but it's an art that you can put numbers to.
This is kind of an interesting module. The purpose of this one is a bit of a mix between kind of why we do things the way we do things at Nubank, as well as how we do them. And we're calling it fundamentally different, not incrementally better, building products the Nubank way. But the real purpose of this module is to try to distill as much as you can in about 45 minutes. Try to distill, what makes product development at Nubank special into a couple of principles, and then to try to make those principles real by explaining a little bit how they manifest themselves in the day-to-day. And I've included a couple of case studies that I thought might help make things a little bit more real. Why fundamentally different and not incrementally better? Like why does it matter that we try so hard to make these products 10x better? Well, there's a lot of benefits for both customers and for Nubank. On the customer side, to state the obvious, customers love great products. But also, it's important to remember that customers tend to be sort of perpetually dissatisfied. And so if you sort of meet them where they are today, there's a chance you'll lose their attention pretty quickly. And so trying to kind of go above and beyond is a great way of surprising your customers and having a better chance that you'll keep them for the long run. Another reason is that by doing things differently, by trying to be innovative, there's a chance that we actually change how our customers think about, for example, their finances, or think about how they interact with digital products. And that can yield some interesting learnings that can ultimately yield sort of additional disruption. And then the last point is just that kind of disruption for disruption's sake. It tends to change the ecosystem. It tends to create interesting new opportunities. There's plenty of examples of this in the past. iPhone is a great one, but there's a lot of reasons why it's just good for the overall, for the world. But again, it's not just out of this kind of altruistic sort of viewpoint that we tend to view things. It's also very good for Nubank. If you create really meaningful products and you really connect with customers, it tends to mean lower attrition, it tends to mean higher engagement, it tends to mean higher MGM, which means lower customer acquisition costs. So it can be very, very good for the business. And then it's also good for all of you. No one likes to come to work and say, I'm trying to just marginally improve what Itaú does. So it's good for talent. It's good for keeping people. So what are our principles? So customer in. So why does this matter? First and foremost, if you're trying to make great sort of customer products, putting the customer at the center of everything that you do really helps to just kind of orient your teams towards a common goal. And by putting the customer at the center of everything, it makes it much easier to make products that really matter. But kind of strategically why this matters is that there's a lot of ways that you can think about product development. You can be products, you can be product in, you can be business in, you can be industry in. But what's nice about customer in is it's very resilient, because if you're always following what the customer wants, then you don't box yourself into arbitrary constraints in terms of how a product is defined, for example, or what the rules of a business are. And so customer in enables us to basically create products that matter, but also in a way that tends to be very resilient for the longer term. How exactly do we do this? So a lot of this has to do with just very, very clear articulation of what a product is actually supposed to do. So first one is clear articulation of what the unmet customer needs are. Usually what this means is taking a look at things like user research, for example, and sort of understanding how customers do things in today's world, and how, you know, the products that they use today, or sort of how they do things today. There's often like an unmet need that comes out of that research, where there's an opportunity to do things in a better way. Now, there's also kind of who you're building for, which is clear articulation of a target customer segment. And this includes not just kind of who you're building for, but also who you're not building for. And sometimes gets down to the level of not just the customer, but also even sort of the specific use case, or sort of the specific journey that a customer is trying to, or the job to be done that they're trying to do. And in order to articulate both of these, it often involves really carefully listening to research, listening to kind of how things are resonating in the market. It's involving your designers, your researchers, your product marketing managers, and observing what's happening, not just asking customers sort of how they're doing what they do today. And the final piece here, and this is why you see a lot of an emphasis in Nubank on writing press releases, or sort of starting with how you would actually market the value proposition to customers, is not just addressing an unmet need for a specific customer segment, but also doing it in a compelling, in a unique way. And so, basically trying to lay out how you would market the product to customers before you even start building. And I wanted to just share a few numbers here, just because I thought people might find it kind of interesting, the degree to which it has shifted. So if you look on the left here, if you just made a broad assumption that we're roughly targeting people living in, young people living in large cities, slightly above average income, you're kind of, you're not capturing everybody, of course, but you're kind of getting close, right? Whereas if you look at to the right, we have a much broader age mix. We have a lot of people who are living outside of large cities. We have a lot of people who are lower income. And so segmentation has become a lot more important to us for obvious reasons. And so, as we think customer in, we should not be ignoring segments, of course.